Well, starting the countdown timer again. That's not a good thing. Hey, everybody, welcome to today's Daily Distinction. Really glad that you are here today. Got an interesting topic to talk about. Hope that all is good with you wherever you are in the world today. Hope everything is progressing very, very well. We know that leadership is critical. So the fundamental question is, what kind of leader are you? We're going to talk about 5 different styles of leadership that we need to consider, right? Which one are you? At the end of the day, I think there's part of us in all of these, but where is our focus? Which would we say we are most of the time? So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. It's leadership, regardless of where you are or what you're doing. And Ken, hey, great to see you, my friend. Really glad that you are here. I saw that I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I saw you had our friend Craig Duswalt on today with you on your live stream. And he is certainly just such a terrific guy. We have had Craig on the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott. Craig he's had quite a fantastic, fascinating career. Road manager for Axl Rose, which would give you enough material for a lifetime if you've done that. Hey, Brian, great to see you. Glad that you are here today. Janice, thank you. I noticed you signed up for the Distinction Summit. I truly appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Yeah, he is. He is a rock star, Ken. No doubt about that. So thank you again. I appreciate it, Janice, that you did that. Donovan, good afternoon. Looking forward to seeing you there. You are reviewing days 4 through 7 of the 14-day program. Glad you're there with that. That's awesome. Thank you. So before we get into the subject of 5 styles of leadership, a reminder again about the Distinction Summit. It's coming up. Several of you that are watching right now have already signed up for that, and I appreciate that. We had several signups this morning, which is always good news. Enroll now. It's called Stand Out and Earn More. If you're new to this, one of the things that I remember Earl Nightingale saying, and if you don't remember Earl Nightingale, he used to have a program on called Our Changing World back in the 70s and early 80s. And one of the things that he said that I've quoted is that everything that you want is currently controlled by somebody else. If you want a raise, your boss or HR controls that. If you want to sell more, well, the prospects and customers control the buying decision. If you want your kid to get in the school of their desires and dreams, there's an admissions committee that's going to decide that. So it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's personal or professional or whatever it might be. If you desire it, want it, it's likely in the control of someone else. So how do you get selected? How are you the one that gets chosen to get what you want? And the fact is, if all you do is blend into the woodwork, if you don't stand out, then there's no really compelling reason that you'd be the one that gets chosen. So that's been what my work has been about for the last 15 plus years. Is what does it take to create distinction? What does it take to stand out so you earn more? And a lot of people think earn more means more money, and that might be what you're looking for. But it also means you earn more customers, you earn more sales, you earn more respect in the marketplace, you earn more notoriety in the marketplace. So earning more might mean you earn more freedom, time to do what you want. All of that comes into play when you create distinction. So that's why this program is about standing out and earning more. And it's October 16th and 18th. It is a virtual program. We're going to have some incredible special guests. Shelley was telling me that we did get a question today asking where the event would be held. And when you go on their website, it says this virtual event, right? But where will this virtual event be held? Well, where's your laptop? That's probably going to be where it's held for you. So anyway, all you need to do to sign up is to go to distinctionsummit.com. It's distinctionsummit.com. It's got all the information. And because you watch Daily Distinction, you get $100 off your registration. All you need to do is enter the coupon code DISTINCT2020. It makes this 3-day program, 2.5-day program, 3-day program, under $100 to attend. And yesterday, by the way, if you were here, we revealed the first of our several special guests for the Distinction Summit. It's my great friend, Sage Steele from ESPN. Sage is going to be joining us. I know what she has done to create distinction to help her get to the top of that highly competitive business of broadcasting, and how tough it is to stay there, because so many people would love to be able. I mean, if you think about it, Sage has anchored coverage from the Masters and from the Super Bowl and from the Indy 500 and from the NBA Finals and on and on and on. And so how do you get there and how do you stay there? And that's part of what she was going to be talking about. So it's going to be a great event. I really would appreciate if you'd take a look, at least go to the website and check it out, distinctionsummit.com. And don't forget, when you sign up, you get $100 off. And I noticed several of you that are watching right now use that. Use the code. That's why it's there. $100 off with the code Distinct 2020. So hope to see you there. Oh gosh, Brian, man, I'm telling you what, it was the local television coverage of it too was absolutely fantastic. It was great. Big night, and how disappointing that nobody was there. But man, what a beautiful stadium. So that was awesome. Curtis, you're in Lund, Nevada today. That's a new one on me. I don't know where Lund is in Nevada. Hey, Mike, good to see you. Yeah, I'm sure he was. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to see that, but I'm sure that. Oh, well, Craig is in the house. Look at that. You got to love that. Oh, I appreciate that, Craig, my friend. It's so good to see you. Craig and I ran into each other. We were both at the NAM event. I was a keynote speaker for NAM, the National Association of Music Merchants. And with Craig's background, but there's like 100,000 people at this event, and Craig and I ran into each other. What are the odds? So always good to see him. And this will be the first year that we haven't done the program at Pepperdine together because of COVID-19. Obviously, it's been canceled. Hey, Scott, always great to see you. Thank you for being in the house today. So we are talking about leadership. As I said earlier, we know that leadership is critical, but what kind of leader are you? We're going to look at 5 leadership styles, try to identify them. And I'll bet you at one time or another, you've probably worked for somebody like each of these styles we're going to be talking about. So the question is, as you look at yourself, and I've done some self-examination on this as well, as we look at ourselves, what's our particular style, and how does that influence the people around us? So the 5 styles of leadership. Hey, Carlos, great to see you. Glad you're doing well and glad that you're here today. Thank you. I know you've been dealing with some challenges as well, big ones. So thank you for taking time to be here. Here's the first of the 5 styles we're going to talk about. Number 1 is the cheerleader. Have you ever worked for somebody who's just rah-rah? And man, they were just so excited about what you were doing, and way to go, gang, get out there. And there's 2 problems with the cheerleader style. Now, first of all, we want enthusiastic leadership, right? I mean, you don't want a leader that's like, all right, gee, my buddy Carl Hurley used to tell this great story. He said, my track coach was the worst ever. And you think, well, how could you be the worst ever coach? He said, yeah, our track coach just said, oh, okay, boys, you get out there, keep turning left, get back as quick as you can. That was it. That was the instructions. Keep turning left, get back as quick as you can. That's great insight from a track coach, right? But the cheerleader is the kind that has a positive attitude and is really up. Nothing wrong with that. We like that. But have you noticed cheerleaders never really participate in the game in the sense that they're not on the court actually playing? And that's part of the problem. They cheer you and they have a positive attitude, but they think that's all there is to being a leader. It's being uplifting. And it's so much more than that. Because what we understand is that good leaders aren't cheerleaders. They're more like coaches, helping instruct, being specific about what needs to be done, showing you many times how it should be done, as opposed to just being excited and exuberant about what's happening as the game is being played. So there's aspects of all of these that are good and bad, right? I'm not saying that any style is bad on its face. Yet, despite the enthusiasm of the cheerleader, it's merely cheering, it's not coaching. So that's a challenge with that particular leadership style. Those of us that are responding to leadership want folks that roll up their sleeves and get in the game as well, right? But then on the other hand, right, from one extreme to the other, we get to the second one, which is the micromanager. The micromanager. I've worked for somebody like that. Have you ever worked for somebody like that? Good grief. When I was a kid, I was in grade school. Maybe even before that, because my mom would watch soap operas. My mom was a fan of As the World Turns. Never forget As the World Turns. My mom watching it when I'm, growing up and before I go to school. And there was a commercial. Gosh, I'm really dating myself, but you could find it on YouTube. There was an Anacin commercial. And the woman turns to her mom and she's holding her nose like she's got a headache. And she said, "Mother, please, I'd rather do it myself." Anybody else old enough to remember that? Man, that's a trip in the Wayback Machine. "Mother, please, I'd rather do it myself." And I just thought of that. I hadn't thought of that before. I brought it up. But the thing of it is that let's see if it's I think I can find it here. It's a re-edit here. Let's see. I'm watching this along with you. Okay, so I've got to, because this is a great definition of micromanaging, if this is the right one and we can see it. So let's take a look and see if this is what we're looking for. The Anacin commercial. Okay, here we go. Oh, what happened to it here? Wait a minute. Here we go.
Don't you think it needs a little salt? Mother, please. I'd rather do it myself. Control you. Sure, you have a headache. You're tense, irritable. But don't take it out on her.
You need Anacin for fast relief. The big difference in Anacin makes a big difference in the way you feel. Minutes after taking Anacin, headache pain's gone. So tension's gone. Irritability's gone. You're in control again. You see, Anacin is like a doctor's prescription.
I don't know if you're going to hear that. The volume is really low on this end as well. But yeah, Janice, micromanagers are so tough to work for, no doubt about it. And Dale, you took Larry's advice and walked out one day. I love it. Well, the point of the commercial is that I don't know how much you could hear about that because it was really low on my end. So I don't know if it was going down the line very well or not. But don't you need to add some salt? Mother, please. I'd rather a micromanager, right? And how do we respond to micromanagers? Oh, that's hilarious, Janet. Yes, early Xanax. Just like Coca-Cola used to have cocaine in it, right? That's it. So the micromanager is the one that is always, well, what if you did this? And don't we need to do that? And that? So here's part of the challenge. When you really break it down, we want leaders that are involved and engaged, but the micromanager takes it to a ridiculous point. And part of that is they either don't trust their teams or they don't trust themselves. That's an often overlooked part of this. We think it's because they don't trust their team, but sometimes they don't trust themselves enough. So the micromanager has a good quality. They're engaged. They're involved. They just take it to a ridiculous extreme. So if you think that might be you part of the time, you need to ask yourself, is the question that you don't trust your team, which means there's some issues there you got to work on? Or is it that you don't trust yourself enough as a manager that you feel that you need to do it instead? Third of the five, the absentee. Have you ever worked for an absentee manager? I have. They just kind of show up, do the kind of, royalty wave to the workers, and then they disappear. We've seen it on sitcoms, right? We've seen it on everything. Some of us have worked. I mean, maybe you work for this type too, the absentee. Here's the problem with the absentee manager. They do something that's good. They delegate responsibility, but then they're never around to help, which is bad. How engaged and involved are you? I was talking with my buddy Brad Cleveland. Brad is working on a book about the customer experience, and it's going to be fantastic when it comes out next year. But he addresses this problem in his book, and one of the things he talks about in the book is that the whole thing about management by walking around that Ken Blanchard popularized with the 1 Minute Manager. Well, there's a good and bad to that, because if all they see you doing is just kind of walking around and not getting involved, not really knowing what's going on, then that is viewed as being an absentee manager. See, even if you're physically there, if you're not engaged, if you don't know what's going on, and if you're not really down knowing what your people are doing, then you're going to be viewed as an absentee manager. Here's the fourth, the seagull. Now, first of all, if you've been to the beach, you've seen the seagulls are going, they just do that incessantly. You ever work for somebody like that? The other thing is sometimes they don't contribute to what's being done. What does the seagull really contribute? But the final thing is that they're not always around, but when they are, they're usually dumping something on the team. If you know what I mean, and I think you do. Right? You ever have a manager like that? They're not around much, and then when they are, then it's just like they stir everything up. And sometimes it's not even congruent with what else they've told you to do. I had a boss like that once. Maybe hardest of the group to work with and to work for, because they'd give direction and they weren't always around, and then they'd swoop in and change everything and then take off. And you're left there thinking, huh? What am I supposed to do? And you never really knew. I mean, people naturally are concerned about their own performance, generally speaking. People want to know if they're doing the right thing or doing a good job. And when it's being changed all the time by someone that just kind of swoops in and stirs things up and takes off, it creates challenges. So those are 4 difficult management styles. The cheerleader that cheers us on, but really never gets in the game. Positive attitude's good, but we want you involved. But then the other side of it's the micromanager that's so involved, they're doing things for you. The absentee that delegates responsibility, which is good, but they aren't around to help, which is bad. The seagull, which they take off, they come back in, they dump stuff on you, stir things up, take off again. Very, very difficult forms to work with. One more to talk about. Oh, you know somebody like that, Ken? I bet you do. Yeah, seagulls sometimes act like dodo birds. I love that, Janice. Yes. And the only problem is seagulls, unlike the dodo, will not become extinct anytime soon. Seagull leadership could become distinct, we hope. Wouldn't that be something? Oh, you had a micromanager who was also a seagull. Yeah, Dale, that's a horrible combination right there. All right, here's the 5th one of the 5. It's the yoga master. And the reason that I saved the yoga master for last is this. When you think of a yoga master, what do you think of? Well, first of all, you think of flexibility. You think of calm and peaceful, confident. And there's another aspect of that as well. The yoga master is usually a great coach, coaching you, instructing you, helping you to master the technique as well. Boy, what a great approach to leadership. I'm going to be flexible in leadership. I'm going to be centered and peaceful with where we're going and what our direction is. I'm confident that we're going to get there. And I'm going to teach and coach and help you to become a master of it as well. That's a Pretty fantastic combination right there. So I would suggest that's where we want to be. That's what we want to be as a leader. We want to be flexible. We want to be confident. We also want to be a great coach, someone that instructs and someone that teaches and someone that helps and someone that does all of those things to help people get better. That's the leader's job, isn't it? Is to help you get better. And as they're doing that, your performance improves and the team improves as a result. All of that is where we want to be. So the 5 again: the cheerleader, the micromanager, the absentee, the seagull, and the yoga master. I would be curious. It would be an interesting activity to ask the people that work with you how they see you, because sometimes people don't see us in the manner in which we see ourselves. And that becomes a challenge for any leader as well, because your team is going to respond to you based upon their perception of you, not on your perception of you. Your team will respond the way that they see you, not the way that you see yourself. So this is a good conversation to have with your team members, and also to talk with them about how you can get better as a leader so you can help them to get better in turn. Donovan, it's funny that you say that, Zen Master Phil. There's a great interview on YouTube, and it is Bill Simmons, who I'm typically not that big of a fan of, but he's interviewing Matt Damon, and it's 2 Boston Celtics fans talking. And Matt Damon is telling the story that his agent has courtside seats for Lakers games. And so he and Wahlberg, not Donnie, but anyway, one of the Wahlbergs, and they're friends from back in Boston. So they're sitting together, and the Lakers are playing the Celtics, right? It's playoff championship, and Paul Pierce makes this incredible move, and both Wahlberg and Damon jump up and they're cheering, and Phil Jackson turns around and tells them to shut the up and set the down. And Matt Damon said, "How's that Zen working out for you now, coach?" He tells it so well. You got to check that out. It's really good. But yeah, what an incredible coach. I know, being a Pacers fan, Phil Jackson took us out with the Bulls, and then he went and took us out. Yes, exactly, Shelley, Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, I was thinking Donnie was the only name I had in my head right then. But yeah, Phil Jackson took us out with the Bulls, then took us out in the NBA Finals with the Lakers. Janice, thank you. I love that. I appreciate it. That's why I wanted to share it today. Ryan, curious if mistakes 2 and 3 prevent us from standing out could be revealed before the Distinction Summit. Yeah, that's going to be happening as well. Stay tuned. See, that's my old broadcasting background. The tease is important. So we'll be doing that very soon. Hey, by the way, if you're just jumping on here before we go today, the reminder about the Distinction Summit, check out the website, distinctionsummit.com. You get $100 off your enrollment when you just use our coupon code DISTINCT2020. Please join us October 16th to 18th. It's the Distinction Summit. We're excited about it. It's going to be great. Sage Steele of ESPN will be joining us, and I've got some other incredible guests that's going to be coming our way as well to help you stand out and earn more. That's all for today. I'll look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing, too. Most of our viewers are on replay. So if you share it, it encourages more folks to watch on replay. Please take a moment and do that. I'll see you tomorrow on our next edition of Daily Distinction.